Hey Facebook family and friends, Ryan King here with Keller Williams, and I'm joined today with Christina Lane of Movement Mortgage, and we've got some great information for you. Forbearance versus deferment. A lot of people started making some mortgage decisions when the pandemic started, and Christina's going to kind of wade through all the information. So my first question though for you is, can you kind of tell me the difference between forbearance and deferment?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of questions about this and so much in the news about forbearance and whether it's a good idea and things like that. So forbearance really, I wouldn't say that it's a great idea, but if you're in a desperate situation, it's definitely something to look into. The main difference between forbearance and deferment is deferment you can generally add to the end of the term, where forbearance you're going to more than likely owe that money back after the forbearance period. And it does accrue interest, where deferment may not accrue interest.
Okay, so did all the lenders give options? Do they say, because I feel like that I saw when the pandemic started, something I even thought about. I'm like, oh my God, do I need to call my lender and go ahead and do one of these options? I didn't end up doing it, but I know a lot of people did because I was just freaked out.
Yeah, there are, and one thing that I always give advice for is to get everything in writing. Whatever you're going to do, whether you're going to choose to do the forbearance, check into the forbearance, whatever it is, get it in writing. Don't agree to anything until you've looked at all the options. I know that some options for forbearance are you pay the money back with interest in one lump sum after the 90 days.
Okay.
And to me, thinking if you're already in a situation where you can't make your mortgage payments, how are you going to make that lump sum mortgage payment after the 90 days is up?
So that's the 90 days that I keep hearing about. Right. Everybody, and so that's what I think everybody's really been concerned about as far as like the foreclosure markets coming, like people not being able to pay back in that 90 days.
Right.
So you're saying that with the situation now, they're in 90 days, I would have to pay back 3 house payments, and then that third month payment or the fourth month payment.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
All in one lump sum.
Yes, that is what I am seeing from most people, because I've had a few clients that have called just to inquire about a forbearance, and then all of a sudden they're receiving paperwork stating that they're in the forbearance. Of course, I'm advising them to go ahead and make the payment if they can borrow from a family member or whatever they can to make that payment, to keep making the payments, because I don't want to see them get into a really horrible situation when that 90 days is up. But most of the paperwork that I've seen states that they do have to pay that full lump sum, 90 days worth of payments back with interest.
2 questions. First question is, if I didn't, if I'm just a regular homeowner and I didn't sign anything, did anything happen to my mortgage? Did I automatically, I have to choose to go into forbearance? Like I signed something?
No, I have. This is the craziest thing, you guys, because I had a client that she's a massage therapist. So naturally she was out of work and couldn't make her payment. And she just thought, well, this will be great. I can take a few months off, go back to work in a few months, and I'll be fine. She called to inquire through the automated service, and the next thing she knows, she's getting paperwork stating she's in the forbearance plan. So that's actually the client that I recommended. Hey, go ahead, and if you can make those payments. She said, no, I've got enough saved where I can make it. I said, please make that payment, because I didn't want to see her get into a bad situation. Right. So I've heard even people inquiring about forbearance and not even signing anything. They're automatically placing them in forbearance. That's scary. Yes.
That's scary. Yeah. So would you recommend for people, that have questions about that part of it, start calling their mortgage lender to find out, like, did you place me into this forbearance? Or like just kind of touching base? Yeah,
so I told her to immediately call and get a live person on the phone to state, hey, I didn't ask for this. Take me out of the forbearance and get something in writing stating that they're not in forbearance.
Okay, so question, and this may be something that we kind of approach as the 90-day or period ends, is if I'm not able to make that lump sum payment, what happens at that time?
Honestly, a lot of things. They could default and start the foreclosure process. It really just depends on what the agreement states that you receive. I've seen some forbearance options where they're allowing you to make up the payments over a certain period of time. Okay. So like maybe over a 12-month period.
So it's not, there's not any one option. It's just going to be kind of based on your lender
Yes.
and what they decide.
Yes.
Okay, that's
correct.
that's kind of scary. Do we have any questions out there? Has anybody posted any questions, Gina? Okay. Question is my loan drawing interest or is accruing interest during the forbearance and deferment?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So just because you're not making that payment, you still owe the interest for those 3 months that you were in forbearance. So when you have to pay that lump sum back, if it is a lump sum, you will be paying back the interest as well.
Okay. That's interesting. That's kind of scary in itself. Also, I guess this is all stuff that's changing.
It's changing by the minute, it feels like. I know when we were preparing for this yesterday, I actually texted Ryan and said, hey, there's a change.
You did.
So,
I was like, oh my God.
So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are the biggest investors, they rolled out a news flash a couple of days ago that states that if you are trying to refinance your loan and you're currently in forbearance, but you've been making your payments, they will allow you to move forward with the refinance.
Okay.
If you are in forbearance and you've missed a payment, you have to have that payment caught up, and then for 3 months after you've caught up that payment, then you can refinance.
Okay.
I'm guessing that they're going to start moving that over for purchases as well, because the current rule is that if you are in forbearance from the time the forbearance is made up and the payments have been made up, it's 12 months.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things circulating, and there's a lot of changes. I would just say to keep checking back with us if you have questions or if you're in that situation and you need answers, because it's literally changing by the minute.
So one big question that the people are always asking is doing forbearance and deferment. So the forbearance is basically kind of deferring it at the front end, and the deferment, you're just adding it back onto the back end.
Right.
So does any of this affect my credit?
No, as long as you do the agreement that they state that you need to do once the forbearance is up.
Okay.
So I don't know of any mortgage lenders right now doing deferment. I've heard that as of January of 2021, they're going to start allowing people to do deferment, adding that
what I
payment
didn't
back,
pay.
what you didn't pay to the end of the term.
Yeah, okay.
And it could be interest free. There's again things circulating about that as well. Deferment is generally with like student loans, federal loans, things like that. But yeah, if you're in forbearance, then you are going to owe that interest. So definitely.
Question that I have from the real estate side: if I'm in forbearance, can I sell my house?
Okay, so this is where everything's getting crazy.
Yeah, if it's not crazy enough.
Yeah, so I actually have a story about that.
Yeah.
I had a client that was moving here from up north and so he was self-employed. Business kind of took a turn when everything started going under because he couldn't keep up.
Right.
Put his house up for sale and has a job offer to start here in Chattanooga with a great job, a salaried position. So he thought, okay, he put his home into forbearance so he wouldn't have to make the payments.
Right.
Put his house up for sale, sold his house within a matter of days, called me to get pre-approved, and I can't pre-approve him because he's in forbearance.
Okay, so because he's in forbearance on the house he's selling, he can't turn around and buy another one.
For 12 months.
For 12
From
months.
the time because he did not make a payment in April.
Well, what if he closes that one out? If he sells
It doesn't
that,
matter.
it's not going to matter.
As of right now, like I said, things are changing by the minute. So I definitely will keep you updated. But as of right now, he cannot buy another house for 12 months from when that home sold or when the home came out of forbearance.
So when it comes out of forbearance, which would mean at closing.
Right.
So once it closed, then it comes out of forbearance, and he can't buy another house for 12 months.
Right. So he's renting. So he'll definitely come back around.
Right.
And he even had $100,000 to put down.
What's crazy is people don't know. Like I would have been him. I would have said, "Oh yeah, I'll stick in forbearance and then sell my house, and then I'll be good." And then take out whatever they're owed. I would have known that it was going to affect my credit to turn around and buy another house.
Right. So like I said, currently, we are seeing some different changes with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and they are making changes to the guidelines. And I fully expect for that change to follow suit with what the refinance guideline is right now, which is as long as they haven't missed a payment in forbearance, then they're okay.
Okay.
If they have missed a payment They've got to be caught up for 3 months, then they can move forward.
Okay, great.
So with this client situation, he missed the payment in April.
Oh.
So if his mortgage gets paid off in May, then he would have to wait 3 months from that period.
So he couldn't buy because he missed his 90-day payment?
He missed his April payment. He went into forbearance in March, didn't pay April.
So he's in forbearance, but he's still having to make a payment.
Correct. Well, if you're in forbearance, the rule is that you do not have to make a payment for 90 days. However, the way that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac is looking at that is a missed payment. Because if someone's in forbearance, they're basically saying, we can't make our payments. We're not making enough money.
I'll take my house, but I can't make my payment.
We're not making enough money. We don't have the income to support it. We don't have enough money in savings to make a payment. So they're not comfortable lending money if they know that they can't make the payments.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Any more questions out there?
Can we just answer those?
Well, this is some great information. If you have more questions about the forbearance, because I'm sure there's plenty of people that are in forbearance out there and would like to know more, reach out to Christina Lane. She's with Movement Mortgage. Do you want to give your number?
Absolutely. It's 423-618-4867. That's my cell phone number, and that's the best way to reach me.
And if you want to sell your house, call me. My number is 595-7958. Thank you all for tuning in, and y'all have a great day.